Welcome to the Lucky Roll. Thanks so much for talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
Can you tell me, who is Robin David?
I'm a board game designer by daytime. Sorry, let me start again. I'm a designer of board games. I do that mainly for a hobby. And in the daytime, I'm a writer for TV and video games.
What is Tag City?
So Tag City here is my most recent release. It came out in Essen in October 2018. And it is a roll and write game, which is highly interactive and based around this kind of graffiti futuristic theme.
What drew you to the world of graffiti artists?
Well, initially Tag City wasn't about graffiti artists. It was about building lunchboxes. It used to be called bento blocks, so it was like Japanese lunchbox themed. And when I introduced it to the French publisher Runes Editions, they didn't like that theme, and they were much more interested in the idea of things like graffiti artists. It's a roll and write game, which means that while you're playing, you're actually writing on the game itself. So it's got these dry erase boards and things. So you're literally graffitiing the game while you play. So it just seemed like a really good fit. So this was all of the graffiti theme is all input from Runes Editions, really, not myself. So, but I think it's a perfect match for the game itself.
So, have you ever tagged your own patch in real life then?
I'm not cool enough to be tagging patches in real life. I've never even used a spray can, I don't think. Once or twice.
You're a graffiti imposter.
I am. I'm a fraud.
What is the player experience as we play Tag City?
So, like I said, Tag City is what's called a roll and write game. So the idea behind this is we would roll dice, and the dice would determine our options, and then while we're playing, we're physically writing on the game itself. And it's all dry erase boards, so you're not ruining your game, it's just all temporary. But the most appealing thing to me about roll and write games is that there's a permanence to your decisions while you're playing. So you got to make these big decisions, and you write them on, and you're not allowed to erase, so you're kind of like stuck with your decisions and your choices that you've made. It's a racing game with players racing to complete different features. So there's lots of like watching other players and keeping track of what other people are doing and trying to like snatch points while you still can. And the rules themselves really straightforward and simple. So it's quite easy for fresh players and new players to kind of jump into and learn the ropes.
What's the best compliment you've received from a player about the game so far?
So this was released at Essen, and I went to Essen to play the game with the public, and the response was really, really positive. Lots of people really seemed to enjoy it, and it was quite a refreshing take on the roll and write genre. There was lots of roll and writes released in 2018. For me, the compliments that I like is when I hear people have played it with like their grandmother or their auntie or something like that, or someone who you wouldn't expect to typically play board games, you know? And then they find that it's let them kind of connect in a new way, and they've been able to introduce board games to a new person, you know, who didn't know that these kind of things existed. With Tag City, because it has a few kind of recognizable mechanics, it's got this kind of Tetris-y thing going on, and as much as I hate to say it, like a bingo-y thing going on. It's quite easy for people to kind of click and go, oh yeah, I get it. But then it's got these twists on it that kind of are refreshing and exciting for maybe less traditional gamers to enjoy. So,
what were you hoping to achieve with Tag City?
Like with most of my games, what I'm trying to achieve is kind of experiences that are accessible. Lots of people can learn to play them quite quickly, but get something novel and fresh out of them as well. I don't really like to tread all ground too much. I like to put in a fresh twist on what's going on. So hopefully, if you play Tag City, you'll find these some more established ideas, but with a unique little twist on them that should make them fun for you and enjoyable.
Where can we get our hands on Tag City?
Tag City is available from lots of places now. It's a bit hard to find in retailers at the minute because of distribution things. Very easy if you're in France. If you're outside of France, your best bet is to go to some online retailers. So if you go to somewhere like boardgameprices.co.uk and plug in the title, it'll come up with a bunch of where it's available from at the minute and the various prices and things like that. So,
what's next for Rob and David?
I've got a few games coming out this year. Fingers crossed. I've got a game coming to Kickstarter in March. I can't tell you much about it because we haven't settled on a name for it, which is terrible, isn't it? But it's a game you may have seen on my Twitter account and things. I used to have a game called Deal With It, which was a fruit trading game. And the playtest's been really, really strong, and it's really fun to play. So a local Irish publisher is actually taking that to Kickstarter, hopefully in March, fingers crossed. And then I have another game coming out through a more conventional publishing, fingers crossed, later in the year, which is the game, it was called Trepanation, that might change. It's the game that came second place in the Hippo Dice contest last year, or the year before. I forget.
I hope we'll be seeing both of these games so we can review, maybe promote them a little bit on the channel.
Yep. Well, when I've got more concrete details, I'll be in touch. Watch this space, right?
Thank you so much for talking to us.